it was on March 8th in 2019 when the cyber lynching happened. The International Women's Day posts were going on, and among them, a huge number of posts dedicated to trans women, most naming them as the real leaders of this day and this fight, reducing the cause, the fight, and all the political organization made by women who they named cisgender. I saw a lot of people questioning feminism and the HM validation, because for those people, it is a date that celebrates pussy feminism, and consequently a cisgender and transphobic one. At this time, I was really mad, and so I saw an Instagram post where a male who identified himself as a trans woman was making a violent speech referring to women like people who have vagina, and saying that the HM was not about this fuck female femininity. So thinking that I could express myself as those people did, I made a post on my stories saying basically that the HM was a day to remember the violence against women with a pussy, and to remember that women with a pussy fight for emancipation, rights, and freedom, or something like that. And I finished saying, I'm not a fucking cisgender, I'm a woman. I'm sorry about the words, but I want to tell you exactly what I did and what happened. My Instagram profile had 18K followers at the time, I think. And a lot of them are from the fashion market. Most women really interested in feminism or feminists, in fact. I didn't take so long until all the internet called me. The lynching was started by trans women from the fashion market and gay men who disputed workspace with me directly. They shared a print screen of my posts blurring the pussy word because it was triggering, I think is that, triggering according to them. My stories were put down very quickly, and a post where I've explained why I was not being transphobic to talk about our material reality, what put down to. I said it was totally fair that I answered all those misogynist publications made at the HM. So they said that I looked and spoke like a man. They started to demand my head on the fashion market, accused me of transphobia, and anyone who'd work or even talk to me of transphobia too. They engaged people on internet to push the national and international labels and magazines and all my potential customers and work partners squarely against me and ensure that they never will work with me again. My manager called me to say that all my jobs had been concealed, and he was being put under pressure, so he could no longer work with me anymore. All this happened among a lot of harassment and insults from random people on internet. So I started to get devastated because I was out of work without a manager during this crisis moment. And I had two kids. I have two teenager kids. And I had an assistant who was out of work too because of me, and was 2 years dedicated to my career with too much effort, completely destroyed in a few minutes. But could get worse. I wore my hair shaved for a long time, and I have this tattoo on my head which says, women have vaginas, not dresses. I made this tattoo exactly because I was really tired to people asking me if I am a trans man, just because I didn't have long hair or something like that. So they used a picture of my profile where the tattoo was quite visible, and shared this, accusing me of transphobia and to be a neo-Nazi. This picture associating me to Nazism was widely shared, including by a famous LGBT profile and a supposed progressist newspaper called Media Ninja. Both totaled more than 1.5 million of followers. And here was when the things began really bad. Um, just on this day, I received almost 2K inbox message of only on Instagram. All of them with a lot of hate speech, awful harassment to me and my family. People talking about my kids, saying it was my fault if something bad happened with them. They say they know where we lived and attended. They were inflaming the people to commit violent acts against me, like burn me alive on the streets like a tire, or saying that I should be raped until death and that they wouldn't stop until finish with all my life. Um, so I was really bad at this moment, and it was 5 days without sleep, even for a minute. Uh, I've had a dissociative episode. I went into shock, went to the hospital, and started to take medicines. I stayed 2 weeks locked in my bedroom because I was afraid of my roommates, because I didn't know what they was thinking about it, and if they want to do something bad with me too. Was 3 months stuck at home, and when finally I tried to go out to go to the bakery, I was recognized, and they screamed my name and called me transphobic, and I started to run straight to my house, and I tripped, and was a nightmare. um, I was completely isolated for everything, even my closest friends, my supposed best friends, the girls who supposedly shared the same thoughts than me, my coworkers, everyone left me because no one could be associated with me. The only support that I had besides my partner was from radical feminists who organized themselves to help me, defending me, and pushing my ex-manager to help me. Uh, I couldn't live in that situation anymore, stuck at home, emotionally sick, and seeing my savings ending up. I didn't have any perspective, so I started to think about leaving the country. My manager was so happy with that idea that he offered me money to go, obviously, because I wouldn't be a problem anymore. Um, he committed himself to work on my international career, to start to work abroad, and to give me some financial help for a while. The first part never happened, and he stopped to help me with money 2 months before the term. And we never talked again. I lived illegally in Spain for 7 months, working 14 hours a day every day until I decided to come back to Brazil because I couldn't stay away from my kids anymore. And I arrived in Brazil a few weeks before the quarantine, and I was working like an Uber driver until the lockdown. Even today, I receive offensive messages, and sometimes my name and those pictures come back to the internet. And I didn't recover any friends or professional relationships I've lost at the time, but nothing is worse than the damage to my integrity, my dignity, and my self-esteem. Nothing was more painful than when I realized my kids were doubting about my morals, my kindness, and my empathy. Um, Nothing was more terrifying to see them exposed to this huge violence. Um, is Nothing is so overwhelming like this Muslim. Nothing is worse than feeling our identity, our existence, our reality being stolen and murdered again and again, while we need to pay ourselves to announce these crimes. And this episode changed me completely, and I'm still trying to understand who I am after all.